Hey, blessings, grace, and peace, everyone. This is Charles here with your Midweek Recharge. And this week, I want to talk to you about your humanity, my humanity, our collective humanity. I think sometimes when it comes to conversations about faith, we often minimize the significance of our humanity, how important our humanity is to our faith, particularly in Christianity. I recognize that there's many more structures of faith and belief in the world. I happen to be a Christian, and so that's many times the perspective that I take. But I think even in most, particularly monotheistic faiths, kind of the big three, Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, we collectively sort of minimize how important our humanity is. There's a lot of emphasis on spirit and immaterial and kind of transcendence. And I think there's one particular example that comes to mind where we learn to embrace our humanity. And I think it's a story, if you're a Christian, you've heard, and if you're not a Christian, you are maybe familiar with a storm. Jesus' disciples were traveling across the sea, and they encountered this wicked storm, wind, waves, thunder, the whole nine. And Jesus is walking on water to meet them in the middle of the storm. And in one account of this event, it almost appeared like Jesus was going to pass by them. And the disciples were so struck by this figure on the water in the middle of a storm, they cried out in fear and in terror. And it was only after Jesus identified himself and stepped into the boat that the storm calmed and the disciples began to compose themselves, gather themselves. I think the key here is, though, the disciples embraced their humanity. In that moment, they were afraid. They were terrified that they were in the middle of this storm and this figure was walking on the water, seemingly about to pass them by. And did Jesus actually pass them by? No, not at all. He actually got in the boat. Jesus met them where they were, in their fear, in the middle of their storm. And it was after Jesus met them where they were that things got better. Don't deny your humanity. Don't reduce who you are as a person. Embrace your humanity. Should we be fearful or stressful all the time? No, but those emotions are very real. And instead of ignoring them, which is an awful idea, or pretending that they don't exist, try embracing them and see if Jesus doesn't meet you right where you are. Let that be your recharge.